Now at 9, 3 people, including 2 teenagers, are killed in an early morning crash. Plus,
former President Trump's legal team responds to the government. I'm David Spunt at the Department of Justice. That story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Nobby. 5 people are dead, including 3 teens, in 2 separate crashes. One crash happened just after midnight on Highway 54, 5 miles west of Nevada. Authorities say a pickup driven by 19-year-old Tyler Green of Nevada failed to stop for a stop sign turning onto the highway and was hit by a semi. Green was taken to the hospital where he later died. 2 of his passengers, 24-year-old Allison Bittaker of Nevada and a 17-year-old from Vernon, Missouri, were also killed. Another 19-year-old passenger from Nevada was seriously injured, and the other driver was not hurt. Another weekend crash claimed the life of 2 people, including a teenager. Authorities say just before 5 a.m. on Saturday, they responded to a crash 6 miles south of Liberal, Missouri. They say 30-year-old Shelby Stinnett was driving south where he went into the wrong lane and hit another car head-on. They say she and the other driver, who was 17 years old, were pronounced dead at the scene. 2 other teenagers were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Sam Lane joining us now. First look at the forecast. I'm loving this cooler weather, and it is cool.
Oh, I know. Everyone was enjoying the cool weather this morning, with some areas getting into the upper 40s. 50s were pretty common as well. Radar is clear right now, just a little bit of moisture and some ground clutter, and that's about it. Highs this afternoon were very toasty, but still tolerable for this time of year. Generally upper 80s out to the west, lower 80s, even some 70s off towards the south and east. And then as we go through time, we're seeing temperatures right now in the mid-60s. I'll be back in a minute to tell you how low it's going to be tonight, so stay tuned.
Sam, thanks as always. As hunting season starts parts of the area, preventing accidents comes to mind. KOAM's Yana Tala talked with an expert to get some safety tips.
When you see red, red means dead.
Hunter safety trainers say accidents can happen anywhere, but they can be prevented.
We learn gun handling by watching TV. Basically, as kids, we watch gun handling on TV, and we watch basically how they do it is how people learn how to do it without having a professional instructor or someone like that work with them to create bad habits on their own, and then we have to overcome those bad habits as adults.
Trim says firearm hunters should always have the safety on when not planning to shoot.
I have to make the conscious decision to go from here to the safety to the trigger when I make the decision to shoot.
With the Kansas bow season for deer now underway, a local hunter recommends always using a safety harness when climbing on trees.
It can just happen so fast. You can slip, trip, fall, any of that kind of stuff. It just, you owe it to yourself and to your family to wear a harness anytime you get off the ground when you're hunting. I personally know a person that fell 20 foot and had a severe concussion.
Equipment should always be checked before going hunting.
This thing is leaving this bow at 300 feet per second, give or take. So any little imperfection in your arrow can cause, extreme deviations in how that arrow performs.
Rainwater recommends asking fellow hunters for help anytime it is needed.
Hunters are some of the most gracious, kind people, in the world, and they absolutely love to take people under their wing and help teach them.
In Pittsburgh, Janna Haudala, KOAM News.
Find more information about hunting season dates for Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. The Creative Learning Alliance in Joplin can look forward to some new things in the exhibits. Liberty Utilities donated $20,000 today to the Alliance to purchase their first manufactured exhibit for their STEAM Center. Look at that, pretty cool. Liberty hopes a donation like this one can lead children and others to develop interest in the company's field.
Get the kids off the electronics a little bit, get them in a space where they can get hands-on and learn a lot about lots of different things, especially the STEAM element, and lots of jobs at Liberty revolve around STEAM, so potentially maybe future employees one day.
The lab is going to include an illumination station and Flexhibit. The old Vernon County Jail in Nevada, Missouri is up for sale. Big property too, lots of space. In the early 1900s, it was a post office. Kind of looks like one from the outside still, if you ask me. All right, and then in the 1950s, it became the Vernon County Jail. It was used as a jail until 2009. That looks like a jail, if you ask me. Building is eligible to be on the National Register of Historic Places.
But as far as the building itself, as we go through it, check it out, you'll see it needs a lot of work. But also, as you walk through it, you'll find out that the structure itself is super, super solid and got a lot of potential. One thing, it's centrally located here in Nevada. It's got great parking. Nevada's
Good security too, I bet, with all those bars. Current asking price is $45,000. Former President Trump's legal team calling out the Department of Justice. In a new filing, Trump's lawyers say the DOJ's investigation has, quote, spiraled out of control. They oppose a request made by the Justice Department that would allow their review of classified documents to continue. Fox News correspondent David Spunt has these details from Washington.
Former President Donald Trump visited his golf club Monday in Virginia. Just a few miles away in Washington, the Justice Department's criminal investigation into government records stored at Mar-a-Lago remains stalled for now. Last week, a Florida judge granted the former president's request for an independent investigator to sift through those documents. The move also halted the government's review of them. The former president's legal team wants it to stay that way.
This investigation is just hitting essentially a roadblock here with the special master discussion and potentially even the appeal. So the momentum of it and the completion timeline are really going to be pushed back.
In a new filing Monday, the former president's legal team called the investigation a document storage dispute that has spiraled out of control. They also insist some of the documents taken by the FBI may not be classified at all. Meanwhile, congressional lawmakers are eager to receive a briefing from intelligence officials about those documents, but that's on hold for now.
If classified secrets, top secret secrets, are somehow mishandled, I pointed out earlier, people could die, sources of intelligence could disappear, the willingness of our allies to share intelligence could be undermined.
A Texas woman is facing criminal charges. She's accused of making threats against the Florida judge in this case. At the Justice Department, David Spunt, Fox News.
Former President Trump's legal team also filed a motion today objecting to the government's candidates for a special master. Illinois is going to be the first state in the nation to end cash bail starting next year. This means people charged with crimes like robbery, arson, even kidnapping, are going to be released essentially with just a promise to show up for trial later. Now, the law is called the Safety Act, but critics say it's actually going to make people less safe. Fox Business Network's Gracie Conrad has more from Chicago.
A number of states' attorneys and sheriffs are sounding the alarm about Illinois' plan to end cash bail. They say it's going to make crime in the state of Illinois worse. The new law that goes into effect January 1st, 2023, gets rid of cash bail entirely. It also limits who can be arrested and held in jail based on the crime they're alleged to have committed. The Democrats who voted for this law say it's more equitable.
You've been denied a bond because you're dangerous, which is good. Let's deny dangerous people bonds. But if they have a bond, we're saying you're not dangerous. We're just going to keep you in jail because you're poor.
But those in law enforcement who oppose it say it'll lead to hundreds, if not thousands of people being released from jail as soon as it goes into effect at the beginning of the year. They also say it'll make our communities more dangerous with suspects in future crimes roaming free.
There is nothing just, and there's nothing, promoting safety about allowing individuals who choose to break the law to threaten and to hurt innocent people, allow them back on the streets to do it again. That's the opposite of justice, and that's the opposite of promoting safety within our community.
The new law comes at a time when major corporations are already leaving Chicago, some of them over safety concerns. Crime in the city of Chicago is up 37% in the last year. In Chicago, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Nick Shub has served in the U.S. Army ever since 2005. Native of Independence, Kansas, Shub has been stationed in Iraq, and we are proud to thank and salute Sergeant Nick Shub. He's tonight's four-state hero. All right, Sam is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, Pitt State football cracking the top 25.
A chilly start to the day across the four states with some temperatures dipping down into the upper 40s, but it warmed up pretty nicely this afternoon with mostly sunny skies, and it's starting to cool down once again. Taking a look down at our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Cam down in Seneca, Missouri, pretty pleasant evening. And it's been pleasant all afternoon long, as I mentioned, with temperatures very warm this afternoon. This morning, though, it was quite the opposite. It was chilly across the area with 48 in Pittsburgh, 46 in Yates Center, 49 in Fort Scott, 51 in Nevada. Even here in Joplin, we dropped down to 49, which was close to the record. But by afternoon, with all the sunshine and the dry air, temperatures warmed nicely up into the 80s, and now we're sitting in the mid-60s, on our way back down into the 50s tonight. 66 in Bonita, 71 over in the Ville, and 65 down in Cassville. All right, let's take a look at the Rangeline Cam. And you can see it's pretty nice out here in Joplin. We did made it up to 84 today, starting out at 49. That was only 3 degrees away from the record. Of course, we want to stay away from that 97 back in 1956. Radar's all clear tonight. We'll stay that way, but that means we are still stuck in this drought that is in the extreme category for southeastern Kansas, northeast Oklahoma. There has been some improvement in southwest Missouri, but not near enough. We are desperately in need of some rainfall, and hopefully we'll have it in the forecast. The allergies, it's a little bit better, but not great. 9.6 today, a little bit better tomorrow, 9.4 out of 12, and of course most of that is ragweed and chenopop. Temperatures right now are expected to be in the 60s, and as we go through time, you'll notice also temperatures are very much close to the dew points in some areas. 48 in Commerce right now, 45 in Chautauqua, 48 in Yates Center, and it's these low dew points that's allowing the atmosphere to cool down rapidly as we go towards the morning hours, and we'll see that on our forecast in just a second. Right now it's 65 in Joplin, south-southwest wind at 7, and the dew point is 49, so that gives us a 56% on the humidity. Lows tonight are going to be not as chilly as they were this morning, but still very pleasant. 55 in Miami, 59 in Joplin, 59 in Neosho as well. A little bit cooler off towards the north and east in Osceola with 56. And we're going to see temperatures once again tomorrow rising into the 80s, even some 90s showing up out to our west, 91 in Fredonia and Chanute, 90 in Miami, and 87 down in Grove. Then as we go through tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, we're going to see lows in around 60 degrees, 59 in Columbus, 60 in Pittsburgh and in Joplin. Then as we go through the day on Wednesday, temperatures once again rising up into the upper 80s to around 90 degrees, especially out to the west. Parsons checking in with around 94 for Wednesday afternoon. Then Thursday morning, we're going to see lows a little bit warmer. So we're going to see generally lower 60s to upper 50s across our area. 60 in Coffeyville and in Miami, 62 in Neosho. Here's a look at the next 7 days. 89 tomorrow with partly cloudy skies. Then as we go into Wednesday, 91, 90 on Thursday, 90 on Friday. And I just had to do it, 88 for our 88 Strong event out there in Webb City. And 92 on Sunday and 93 on Monday, Jordan.
Couldn't keep cool forever, I guess, huh?
No, we're trying so hard, but summer's just hanging on for dear life.
See you in a little bit. Sam, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, coming up, one tradition of many going on in the UK.
Mourners begin paying their respects before the coffin of the late Queen Elizabeth II. I'm Malda Rivera in London with details on the tributes to Her Majesty coming up.
Food and Drug Administration warning patients and doctors about unusual cancers found in some people with breast implants. The agency announcement coming after an in-depth routine review of several medical reports, citing the discoveries of rare lymphomas and squamous cell carcinoma in the scar tissue that surrounds the implants. According to the FDA, there are roughly 50 reported cases of these types of cancers in people with both saline or silicone implants. Officials say these rare cases are not the same as previous reports of lymphomas linked to breast implants. Some of the symptoms include changes in skin appearance, swelling, pain as well. Regulators encourage people experiencing any issues to report them through the FDA program MedWatch. A new study looking at diabetes deaths in the U.S. finds more people are dying from diabetes in rural areas. Data suggests rural populations have less access to health care and receive a lower quality of service. Queen Elizabeth honored in Scotland today for her life of service. Thousands coming out to pay their respects there, along with the Queen's children, including the new king. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reporting from London.
The late Queen Elizabeth II honored today in a service of thanksgiving at St. Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh. The Queen's children, including King Charles III, following behind as the Queen's coffin made its journey to the cathedral. Inside, the flag-draped coffin was topped with the Golden Crown of Scotland. Thousands of people lining the route between Holyrood House Palace and the cathedral. The Queen's coffin will remain there until Tuesday, so members of the public can pay their respects.
We've been here for 4 hours. She's been a wonderful queen to this country. for all are real.
Meanwhile, in London, the lines at Buckingham Palace have only gotten longer over the last few days. The Queen's coffin will arrive here on Tuesday, where she is expected to stay overnight.
The new king accepting condolences for the late Queen at the Scottish Parliament, pledging to follow in his mother's example, while reflecting on the Queen's great love for Scotland.
The Queen, like so many generations of our family before her, found in the hills of this land and in the hearts of its people a haven and a home.
Afterward, King Charles III joined by his siblings, standing vigil over his mother's coffin.
After traveling back to London, the Queen will lie in state at Westminster Hall from Wednesday until her state funeral on Monday. In London, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
Still ahead, Ukraine gathering as many victories as possible.
Ukrainian forces are continuing their counteroffensive, hoping to keep up momentum and push back Russian forces across the border. I'm Jeff Paul in Kyiv. I've got the details coming up.
Time is running out to prevent a nationwide strike by freight railroad workers. A 60-day cooling off period imposed by the White House is set to expire this week. Negotiators have reported some progress in recent days, but those agreements are tentative and several major issues remain unsettled. A trade group estimates that a work stoppage could cost the U.S. economy as much as $2 billion a day. Industry analysts believe Congress is going to intervene to prevent a strike, either by imposing a contract on the companies and unions or by extending that cooling off period. The Ukrainian army is once again on the move, making more gains today against Russian forces, some of whom have been pushed all the way back to the border. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul has more from Ukraine.
The Russians are on the move. Ukrainian troops retaking more territory on Monday after a weekend blitz that saw a major Russian retreat in the northeast. Ukrainian forces are now flying their flags at some border checkpoints Russia had controlled since the start of the war. Officials here say more than 20 towns and cities have been liberated in just the past 24 hours. And they have new reports that Russian forces are suffering a significant breakdown in morale.
The enemy suffered significant losses in manpower. The rest of the servicemen have extremely low morale. Therefore, they massively refuse to return to the combat zone.
But there are also growing concerns about the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Europe's largest, where the last reactor still online was shut down as fighting intensifies throughout the area.
What we need here, really, is Ukraine and Russia to agree on a very simple principle of not attacking or not shelling at the plant.
Meanwhile, the Russians reportedly striking back against civilian targets in Ukraine's second biggest city, cutting off water and power to hundreds of thousands, with Vladimir Putin claiming the war is far from over.
Russia is confidently handling the external pressure, essentially a financial and technological aggression coming from certain countries.
The Russian pullback is also prompting rare criticism from Russian officials who believe Moscow is making mistakes in Ukraine. In Kyiv, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
All right, next, tackling a spaghetti controversy. Do removing the noodles from the heat at a certain time cause absolute unbelievable catastrophe? Well, things all over the world are more expensive, right? High price of energy has led to a heated debate in Italy about the appropriate way to cook pasta. In an effort to save energy, some Italians, who are in the minority, have suggested turning off that flame on the stove once that water starts boiling. Arguing the pasta, it's going to be fine, it's still going to cook. Okay. One chef, though, who's cooked traditional Roman carbonara for a number of presidents and first ladies over the years, says pasta will still cook without a flame, but it will cook, in his words, really badly. God knows we don't want that, right? Another cook who is retired says without a flame, pasta will not cook, but only get softer. Here's the deal. In my words, I love spaghetti, right? Let them duke it out. Let them argue it over in Italy and get back to me with their solution. Because I love pasta. I love spaghetti. I have time to eat, but I don't have time to argue. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right. 31 minutes news, weather, and sports coming away. Joplin City officials discuss the future location for Whataburger. Plus, dozens of wildfires continue to devastate parts of the western U.S. Joplin's Planning and Zoning Commission today discussed plans for the future site of Whataburger in the city. The commission looked at a site plan review brought forth by Whata Brands. Now, the two locations being discussed are 2014 South Rangeline and 2019 South Highview Avenue. Commissioners approved the review, which means it's now going to head to the City Council for further discussion. The Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes in Fort Scott, Kansas celebrates their 15th anniversary and the grand opening of the Lowell Milken Park. KOAM's Carrie Worthen has more on this story.
1, 2, 3.
Our goal at the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes is to take the wonderful work we're doing here and to take it to the world.
Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes is celebrating its 15th anniversary. It recognizes about 40 people and includes the new Lowell Milken Park. Skipper Higgins is a grandson of Andrew Jackson Higgins. He built thousands of boats used during World War II.
I'm happy to be here, really happy to be here and see all the other unsung heroes. It's just an amazing place, absolutely amazing. And then the core purpose of it is education and enlightenment of students all over America and all over the world.
Gracie Conrad competed against students from across the country and won the 2022 Discover Award after researching about a woman who saved children during the Holocaust.
I think that I am just more happy that Betty gets recognized because she deserves that recognition for what she did, and she's just an amazing person, and I'm just so beyond happy that I could be the one to tell her story.
25 teachers, including one from Amsterdam, were also a part of the celebration.
What these projects do is they take social studies education and story education from that to a much broader kind of investigation. So students are wrestling with primary sources. They're asking really big questions and trying to find new ways to discover the truth.
You need to take it within yourself to know that anything you do is original, and originality is all we have.
In Fort Scott, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
The Lowell Milken Center is going to host a special open house tomorrow from 10 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. Visa says it's going to join MasterCard and American Express in categorizing sales at gun shops separately. Those purchases were previously classified as, quote, general merchandise. Proponents of the new move say it's going to help authorities track suspicious sales of firearms and ammunition. Gun advocates have argued flagging gun sales would unfairly target its industry, insisting most sales do not lead to mass shootings. Those gas prices have fallen 25% from June's record highs. It had been nice, right? But Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says she's warning pain is going to come in the future again. She says fuel costs could spike again this winter as the EU scales back its purchases of Russian oil. Yellen said the move is necessary to cut off funding for Russia's war in Ukraine, but is likely to lead to increased demand and higher prices from other oil and gas suppliers. Dozens of wildfires are burning land across the western U.S. Some states are taking new steps to prevent flames from sparking. Fox's Chris DeMao has more.
Fire is pretty much a wild animal. We can't tame it. We can just try to control it and extinguish it.
Hundreds of firefighters are working around the clock to contain California's Mosquito Fire. It's the state's largest wildfire this year, scorching more than 41,000 acres near Sacramento. Fire crews say the flames are feeding off of dry brush located in steep terrain.
In the evenings, when the wind gets cooler, it actually comes downhill. It can push the fire downhill, which is atypical, and spread it in new directions.
The Mosquito Fire is one of dozens burning out west. In Washington state, the Bolt Creek Fire has burned through 7,600 acres. FEMA has authorized funds to support firefighting efforts. The flames are threatening power lines, railways, and roads, putting multiple communities under evacuation orders.
I got a message from some neighbors that said I needed to come home and start packing up.
I just got the things that were most precious to me, photos and my art.
And in Oregon, nearly 50,000 homes and businesses had their power shut off this weekend. Portland General Electric made the decision as high winds threatened to down power lines and spark new wildfires.
It's not easy, but it is something that you have to look at, and you don't have any choice about this, so you better do the best you can.
According to the National Interagency Fire Center, wildfires burned more than 6.6 million acres in the U.S. this year. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
A bit later, a look at stricter clean air rules and if other states are choosing to follow California's lead.
We had a nice cool morning to start the day across the 4 states, but not anyone was complaining as we've been having a pretty hot summer so far, so it was a nice change out there. We have pleasant conditions this evening, including down in Seneca, Missouri with the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, KOAM. Pretty nice night, nothing really going on here in the 4 states. We had some chilly morning lows to start out the day, 48 in Neosho, 49 in Monette, 47 in Chanute, but the champion was Yates Center with 46, if you don't count Bartlesville at 45 this morning. Even here in Joplin, we dropped down to 49 degrees this morning. But this afternoon, with the dry air in place, temperatures warmed up nicely, up into the 80s across the area. Now we're looking at mid-60s across the region, 62 in Pittsburgh, 66 in Fort Scott, 64 up in Yates Center. A little bit warmer down in Veneta, where they're currently 65. Same thing down in Bentonville with 65 degrees. All right, let's take a look at the Almanac. Today we made it up to 84 after starting out at that chilly 49, only 3 degrees away from the record set back in 1959. And of course, we can still get hot this time of year, 97 back in 1956. Radar is all clear, and that's bad news because we desperately need the rainfall. Temperatures right now, like I said, are in the mid-60s to around 70 degrees in some locations like Oswego with 70 and 71 down in Welch. Dew points, though, they're low, and that's what allowing temperatures to fall into the morning hours. 45 in Neosho right now, 50 in Iola, 49 in Parsons. This kind of gives us a rough idea of what the low temperatures are going to be for the night with strong radiational cooling, but it looks like it's going to be a pretty nice night once again across our area. 65 in Joplin right now, and it feels like 65 because the dew point's 49. Relative humidity is at 56%. And the wind and the pressure is currently falling on the hour. Your future track forecast looks like this. Lows tonight, once again in the 50s across our area. 59 in Joplin, 59 in Neosho, 57 in Grove, as well as Nowata and Yates Center. Double nickel, though, for our friends up in Garnett. Then tomorrow afternoon, mid to upper 80s across our area, even 90 out to the west in Yates Center, Chanute, Parsons, and Fredonia, and also the Ville. Then as we go through the overnight hours into Wednesday morning, we're going to see lows once again in the upper 50s to right around 60 degrees with southerly winds, maybe some clouds out towards the west. Then Wednesday afternoon, another warm one across the area with temperatures in the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees, maybe a little bit cooler over in Monette with a high of 85, but 91 in Fredonia and Eureka with 94 over in Parsons. Then as we go through Wednesday night into Thursday morning, lows in the 60s and 50s across our area with southeasterly winds. Your 7-day forecast looks like this. Tomorrow, 89 with partly cloudy skies. Then on Wednesday, 91, 90 on Thursday, 90 on Friday, and of course 88 degrees for our special day of Saturday of the 88 Strong event over there in Webb City. And then 92 for Sunday and 93 on Monday. But we do have a chance of storms finally coming into the forecast early next week. So we have something to look forward to besides all this heat.
Yeah, when you at nighttime, it's so nice to roll down the windows,
very nice. Yep.
Enjoy that breeze.
Yep.
Sam, thanks as always.
No, you're welcome.
Appreciate it, man. All right, coming up in sports, 2 local athletes earning MIAA honors. Plus, Neosho hitting the road to face McDonald County. Danny Tuzer has hosts, highlights, and more next.
Big news for Pitt State football. The Gorillas have claimed a spot inside the top 25 of this week's AFCA Division II coaches poll. Here's how the rankings shake out. So Pitt State, previously unranked, jumps up to number 16. The Gorillas knocked off Nebraska Kearney last Thursday on the road, 35-28. The only other MIAA school in the top 25 this week is Northwest Missouri at number 2 in the country. Washburn, Nebraska Kearney, and Missouri Western are all outside the top 25, but received votes this week. A pair of local athletes also earned conference honors today. Pitt State quarterback Chad Dodson Jr. is named the MIAA Offensive Athlete of the Week. He threw for 301 yards and 4 touchdowns, including the game winner against Nebraska Kearney. Special Teams Athlete of the Week goes to Missouri Southern's Nick Williams. 3 of his 4 punts landed inside the 20, including a long of 56 yards. The votes are in for the Performance of the Week, and It goes to the Quapaw Wildcats. They improved to 2-0 on Friday night following a big road victory over Galena, 29-22. This game was a battle all the way through. Tied at 22 with a little over a minute remaining in the game, the Wildcats drove down the field and quarterback Jack Derringer connected with Deacon Schapp for the game-winning touchdown. Now, both of Quapaw games this year have been very close. They beat Salina 41-40 in their home opener back in August, so the Wildcats certainly know how to finish, and they trust one another to get it done.
That kid can catch anything, so I was pretty confident as soon as I saw him. The linebacker came up and Deacon kind of went around him, and I saw that, and first thing was, that's a touchdown, you know. I trust him, and we have a good combo, and it just worked out perfectly.
These kids have now found a way to win, and they believe in themselves. They knew that, you know, we were going to win, so we just kind of got out there and believed in what we had been doing offensively.
Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City offense made a statement in Week 1, dominating the Arizona Cardinals in Glendale 44-21. We knew coming in that the Chiefs' plan to get a lot of different guys involved offensively this season, and that's exactly what they did on Sunday. 9 players caught a pass in the game, and Mahomes was lights out. He threw 5 touchdown passes, and the Chiefs converted all 6 of their red zone opportunities into touchdowns.
Guys were just ready to go. They're excited to get out there and show what we had. We've kind of the whole offseason, everybody's asked us the questions of what this offense, what this team's going to look like. And we've always believed that we were going to go out there and put on a show, and I thought guys did that. I think guys are smart. They kind of break off their routes. I mean, if you see sometimes we have guys kind of all in the same area, it's because everybody sees the blitz and is trying to get there faster. So it's we have a lot of smart guys in this offense and know how to get themselves open quickly versus the blitz, and they're able to recognize his coverages. So whenever you have smart guys that are athletic as well, it makes it hard for the defense to kind of account for.
Big softball matchup to start the week. The Neosho Wildcats travel to McDonald County this afternoon to take on the Mustangs. McDonald County is 6-2 entering the day, while Neosho is 6-3. Both teams aiming to bounce back from a loss. Neosho up 1-0 in the 5th. Annalisa Ramirez finds a gap in center, and that's a triple. Then Nevaeh Dodson hits it right over the pitcher's head. Ramirez scores to tie it at 1. Next inning, McKaylee Forrest gets it through the left side. Run scores and Neosho takes back the lead. Wildcats add some insurance. Becklin Garrett hits an RBI single to left. And Neosho tops McDonald County 3-1. That's a look at sports. We'll be right back.
A new California rule bans the sale of new gas-powered cars after 2035. Under the Federal Clean Air Act, other states have to follow California's clean car standards or choose the less demanding federal rules. Fox's Mills Hayes is near Minneapolis to show us how some states are going to follow California's lead while others are still deciding.
Congress gave California permission to set its own car emission regulations decades ago. Other states don't have that luxury. Here in Minnesota, they adopted California's rules back in 2021 to help combat climate change. But now that California rules have changed, the state's trying to figure out what works best for them. Minneapolis local Diana McKeown has been driving an electric car in the Twin Cities since 2013. Her car can drive up to 220 miles at a time on a full battery.
Most people drive 100 or less miles a day.
Electric vehicles currently make up only 2.3% of new vehicle sales in Minnesota.
They're so much fun to drive because an electric motor gives you a lot of torque, so you can just take off.
At least 17 states, including Minnesota plus D.C., have adopted some aspects of California's existing clean vehicle standards. But last month, California announced a ban on new gas-powered cars by 2035, leaving states like Minnesota unsure what to do. GS Motors sells used electric cars in the state.
That's what needs to be done, I believe. It will help to make the air cleaner.
But the Minnesota Auto Dealers Association is pushing back on this plan.
Minnesota is not Southern California. We're certainly not trying to bash electric vehicles, but the fact is that their battery is reduced by about 40% in cold weather.
Lambert is suing the state to get out of the California program.
Our dealers know what vehicles their customers want. This mandate will force us to buy vehicles that we might not have customers for. and that's a very expensive proposition.
The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency tells me that the state is focused on implementing clean car standards that they adopted in 2021. They say electric and hybrid vehicles can be a great affordable option to help consumers save money on gas and help address impacts of climate change, and the state will continue with the Minnesota plan. Lambert tells me that Minnesota can't have its own plan and needs to decide between federal regulations or California regulations. In West St. Paul, Mills Hayes, Fox News.
Coming up, a look at the entertainment coming your way this week right here on Fox 14. 15th Annual Academy of Country Music Honors debuting on Fox for the first time. And 2 competition series bring season finales. Here's Fox's Ashton working with that and more in our look at what's coming up on Fox TV this week.
Country Music honors a MasterChef winner. Here's what's hot on Fox.
$1 million!
Yes! First Monday starts with the season finale of Don't Forget the Lyrics, hosted by Niecy Nash. And one more round going for $1 million, testing that musical memory.
We are the first family of country music.
Then it's an encore of the series premiere of Monarch, about country music dynasty the Romans, led by Susan Sarandon and Trace Atkins.
Treat me right, put me first.
Tuesday is the 15th Annual Academy of Country Music Honors, also known as the country music industry's favorite night, hosted by Carly Pierce.
It's like a dream come true for me.
Wednesday, find out who did come back to win it all on the MasterChef Back to Win finale. Special guest Christina Tosi joins as finalists make one last entree and a gourmet dessert. One will be named the season 12 winner. Then sing along with another encore of Monarch. The drama then continues next Tuesday when it makes its time period premiere.
And it's gone!
Fox Sports steps up to plate with MLB on Fox Thursday, then WWE Friday Night SmackDown.
Here we go!
Mark the calendar for several Fox premieres next week. 911 and The Cleaning Lady are back September 19th, The Resident September 20th, and the 21st is the return of The Masked Singer and Lego Masters. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you tonight with video of giraffes at the Brookfield Zoo near Chicago enjoying a special treat. Looks like some lettuce there. And I guess he doesn't think it looks good. There we go. He's taking some bites out of it now. Hey, have a good rest of the night. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.